So how was the trip?
Trip was good.
So tell me about it. What was the studio time like? Did you record the song?
Studio time was good. We recorded the song.
So did you get a chance to see the city?
Nah, we didn't see no city.
You know what'll be good?
You know what'll be good? If you hush your mouth, all right? Matter of fact, yeah, let's go to IHOP. You can hop on out the truck, and I can stay in. I'm sleep because I'm tired. Not T-I-R-E-D, tired. T-I-E-D, T-I-D-E, T-Y-D, T-Y-D-E. Any variation of tired. I don't want to hear no noise, all right? No mouth, no radio. Man, cut the radio down. No radio. Matter of fact, you turn your GPS off. I only want to hear her talk. Turn 5.2 miles north. No noise.
So we'll get lost, right?
No, I don't care what you gotta do. You better drive around till you see some familiar roads. Pray to God, ask him to give you direction. And if you do, tell him to whisper. No noise.
You need to go to sleep.
I will. Can you hush?
Bye.
Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland, 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 Dixieland.
Shut that bitch up.
Every time. I'm waiting for a guest to really lose it. When you do that.
Just waiting. All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to Dixieland the Proletariat. We're going to talk about Southern working class history and current events from a leftist perspective. Make sure to like us on social media at Dixieland the Proletariat. Or if you want to find all our links, go to our link tree at linktree/.prol. It's DOT-PROL, where if you want to give your wages to a bunch of rednecks, you'll find a link to our Patreon. We got a lot of cool stuff to give you, including CDs, stickers, a cookbook, Discord server, Twitch stream, and exclusive episodes. We also have a Spotify playlist with some great artists y'all should check out, as well as our merch store. This podcast is brought to you by Contractional Monogamy, Therapy, Vaping, Living at Home, Arby's, Kaiser Pushing White Men in the Swamps, Tommy's non-tactical use of the N-word, Nelson's Love Life, Tyler's Wild Stories, Mark's Laughter, which brings joys to the masses, and World War III. Shout out to our new Patreon subscribers, Christina. Our monthly Patreon surplus goes to groups that are run by and help marginalized people directly. As always, I'm Nelson with... This is going to be fun.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Mark.
Oh, this is a first.
Tommy's muted.
Addicted to Elden Ring.
And our guest this evening is...
Black Red Guard.
Tyler's arch nemesis is
Welcome back.
for the third time to take
Nelson,
on.
you just push that narrative.
I do push that narrative. I am manufacturing consent that y'all are arch enemies.
Would I yawn in the presence of an enemy of mine?
That's true. Oh, damn, Tyler. That's
I mean,
crazy.
his DSA pushing the DSA kid locker in the meme was like that was my favorite shit.
I need to find more compelling and actually deadly enemies. You're just sad.
Yes.
Yeah,
No.
I can't. I need to stop bullying little rednecks.
I don't see a reason for that, but okay. I said bully all the rednecks.
Oh man. No, Chris, that meme you posted with the Arthur as them all grown up, and you said this is a DSA chapter. That shit cracked me up. That shit was fucking hilarious.
I'm glad to bring some semblance of joy to your miserable night, Nelson.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
It's all good.
Nelson, aren't you in the DSA?
I am, and that's why that shit cracked me up, because it's so fucking true.
All right, which one are you? Did you decide?
He's the one getting shoved in the locker.
Okay, first off, I'm too fat to get shoved in those lockers, so there you go.
Let's stop talking about bullying people. Bullying is not nice. It's a new year. We need to turn over a new leaf, comrades.
It's true. That's true. We need to stop bullying each other. So fuck you, Tyler. Y'all should be nicer to me.
Nelson is going to be a very powerful man someday. We need to respect him. Otherwise, we'll all suffer when he comes into his throne.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but Nelson's also afraid of me, so
And he could be.
Exactly.
I've only threatened to throw his ass into a swamp. So.
You're the power behind the throne, my friend.
Well, I don't need to be behind Nelson ever. I know what happens.
That is fair. I don't want to find out what happens.
Oh my God. Oh Lord. So how's everybody doing? I've been watching the news and watching World War III unfold before our very eyes. What's everyone else up to?
My daughter's birthday party was today.
How'd that go? Is that fun?
That was fun. Got to lift up a pinata on a backhoe and let little kids try to hit the pinata while I'd raise it up, and they couldn't hit it. It was hilarious.
Okay.
Oh my God. What about everyone else?
I am 23 hours into a game that came out Friday. Very excited. Elden Ring. Yes. I have done nothing but play this game. I am.
Isn't that a sequel to Skyrim?
Yeah, it's the prequel, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you found the Elden Ring?
I have not. Are you playing Elden Ring, Chris Redguard?
No, I'm not. I don't play video games. I'm a very serious man who does very serious things.
Oh. I'm not. I'm the opposite of that. I have not found the Elden Ring, though.
Oh my God.
Well, keep us updated.
I'll let you know. I am 22 bosses in, out of 80, I think. So
What's the final boss when you get all the Dragon Balls?
I have no idea. I have no clue. I have no idea.
You know he would combust if anybody spoiled anything.
Yeah, true. So if you know the ending, whatever, don't spoil it. Mark, what about
He'll
you?
be done with the game by the time this comes out.
Oh yeah, true. Mark, what about you?
I cleaned my room a little bit. That was nice.
Oh, good job,
I came
Mark.
out. I
Good for you.
know.
Did you get tendies afterwards? Mark takes a swing
I thought we were friends.
before he cusses me out.
I thought we were friends. But okay. You know, it's not like I just came out of depressive funk and I was like, yeah, I'll make my bed for once.
No, for real. This
But,
shit is incredible. When you have the energy to clean and after you do it, you're like, oh, so this is what it's like to be like decent.
Yeah, functional. Yeah. That's pretty much it. That's all I've done today. Yesterday, I had a pretty productive day. I went to a meeting and I taught boomers how to make a shortcut on a desktop. And they want me to type it out.
Oh
yeah.
God.
And send it to them. And yeah.
Mark's here doing God's work.
Yeah.
Mark, how'd that go?
I haven't done it yet.
I
I'm
was
gonna do
gonna
it
say,
tomorrow when I get paid for it.
How
Not
many-
on my
Yeah.
free time.
I was gonna ask how many times the boomers got mad.
None.
Oh, that's
Because they haven't tried it yet.
Oh, okay. There you go. You gotta tell us their reactions when they try to do it.
Yeah. And then I got my oil changed and then I got a haircut. So this weekend has been pretty successful so far.
Yeah, I remember getting haircuts.
I'm not as successful as beating 22 bosses in Elden Ring.
That is
That's
true.
true.
That is true.
Because you said you did 24 hours, so it's like almost like a boss an
Almost
hour.
an hour, yeah.
Oh wow, that's crazy. That's amazing here on a G4, the new G4 podcast. Chris, before you fall back to sleep, what have you been up to?
I got a pretty sweet job. I work at a shelter for the unhoused. A very good opportunity to do some social investigation and class analysis. Plus, just try to do right by some people and here's some of the most interesting stories.
I saw where you posted they made fun of you for eating a whole chicken and not sharing it.
That is, I deserve to be made fun of.
Why wouldn't you share the chicken?
Because I was hungry.
No.
And I did not refuse to share the chicken with the clients. I refused to share it with my coworkers.
Okay.
That doesn't
Fair.
sound very communist.
Fair.
Spoken
Oh
like
yeah,
a
we
true
did
leader of the
learn last
proletariat.
night that we did learn last night that if you're in a communist stronghold, there is no food. Like according to Gordon Ramsay, there is no food where there are communists. That's a plug. If you don't watch our Twitch streams, you should come watch them because we like to tear the shit out of Gordon Ramsay sometimes.
Oh my
and Gordon
God.
Ramsay says things like, you know, when you're in Vietnam, where you're in a communist stronghold like Hanoi, and they have no food and no trash in the streets.
He fucking did say that. Oh my God. Holy shit. Kai, what about you? What have you been up to?
I like
You should have went to CPAC. That would have been really funny.
No. Uncle Big Tim did that. I don't need to do that.
The videos he took of that shit was so goddamn funny.
Like I do not need to court serious illness to go to see. Like,
true.
No. I've been taking care of my mom who's on dialysis, so I cannot afford to catch anything. So I've been running around behind my mom, got her a new walker, got her attachments for the walker, so now she feels like she's rolling around in a Cadillac because she's got a phone holster, a cup holder, and a bag hook on her walker now. And her walker is like one of the seated ones. It has like a little seat on it. And
those are legit.
Under the seat. Man, she is so excited, and her walker is purple. So like I got her a purple cup to go with the purple walker and everything. Like, she is excited. So we had to go roll with the walker today so she could try out all of her new attachments.
When folks with that kind of walker would come into the restaurant, they would use it instead of a chair. It's like, that looks really fucking comfortable, and I want one of those when I'm old. It just looks super fucking
Nothing's
comfortable.
stopping you from buying one now.
That is true.
Right.
That is true. Now, didn't we say that walker is going to replace Paul Walker? I forgot how that.
Yes, that's right. Her walker is going to replace Paul Walker eventually.
This walker will still melt in a car that catches on fire, but it'll be a better actor.
Oh, God.
The Fast and Furious franchise is a joke.
Look, Fast and Furious franchise paid for my house to have new furniture one year.
That is true, but they should have stopped. They should have stopped after Paul Walker died. Like, for them to keep making them after he died was kind of like,
yeah, they said they were going to stop as well, and then they just kept going.
Oh, that was rough. Family.
Hey, before our guest falls asleep on us, how about we let Black Red Guard talk about what he's here for?
Yeah, that sounds like a good point, because he's graced us with his presence for a third time, and we're always happy to have him on. So, Chris, you want to talk about the first topic you were going to tell us about, the Houston riot, 1917, and how that was one of the great moments in U.S. history?
Yeah, you actually suggested it, because I was posting some clips and screen caps from a movie I was watching. It's called The 24th. About that. It's a heavily fictionalized portrayal, of course, but yeah, it wasn't a riot. It was a mutiny. We had the New African soldiers of this. This was 1917, so the U.S. Army was, of course, segregated. Oh. But yeah, so
the FBI has hacked Chris's computer.
Yeah,
they're taking him out.
Better not say nothing stupid, boy. we heard you were letting you go on with the rednecks, but yeah, you better keep mind your P's and Q's, son.
Not gonna have this alliance.
Anyways, yes. So you had the all black 24th Infantry Regiment. When I say all black, I mean the NCOs, non-commissioned officers, and rank and file soldiers. Your privates, your corporals, they were black. The commanding officers, your captains, your majors, your lieutenants, those were all white. So it was basically a plantation in the army. And if you read Du Bois and others from that period, other people who would eventually go on to become revolutionary leaders of our people back during World War I and these other ridiculous wars that Yankee imperialism got us into, they argued that we should go and fight for the United States and do all the bullshit tasks that they had for us. But this shit never benefited us. Now, World War I in particular, if you read Joe Lennon on it, it was an imperialist war. It never benefited anybody. It didn't even benefit the people that popped it off, because one of the great, actually, no, several of the great powers that started this war ended up collapsing. There was no more Russian Empire. There was no more Ottoman Empire. There was no more Austro-Hungarian Empire. Plus, the German Empire was overthrown by the November Revolution. No? So it was a pretty big deal. And these black troops that went over there to fight, they ended up being treated like garbage. As a matter of fact, there was a thing. The black soldiers from the United States, they had to go and fight for France if they wanted to fly planes and stuff like that, drive tanks, because the Americans would not let them fight. And the brass, John J. Pershing and the others of the American Expeditionary Force, they spent more time actually trying to convince the French that black troops all had venereal diseases and would corrupt the morals of French women and wouldn't and were unworthy of being seen in the company of French women. So it was basically a bunch of shit. Like, how fucked in the head do you have to be to tell people in a foreign country that your citizens, your men in arms, are disgusting and should not be allowed or shouldn't be allowed to fraternize with the civilian population? So that was the context in which the 24th Infantry Regiment was coming into. And they were being used to build this new camp down by Houston. Okay, this is Houston, Texas, 1917. So you already know there's going to be some shit. The guys, they would go into town and they'd be harassed by the police, shot at in many cases, arrested for no reason, beaten up. So the guys, they were like, you know what? We are United States motherfucking soldiers and United States motherfucking citizens. We are not, like, y'all can't treat us like this. So there were many complaints to the commanding officers, like, hey, Jimmy got arrested last week. And they was like, well, we have to respect the sensibilities of the local populace. They're like, no, the fuck we don't. I thought we were fighting a war for democracy. Speaking of that, why won't you let us go to France so we can fight? As we are soldiers. That is what we do. We're not building a fucking ditch in the sun. So there were a variety of contradictions. In the military history of the New African people, we've been in every war that this country has popped off, going all the way back to the so-called American Revolutionary War. As a matter of fact, one of the first people murdered by the British in Boston during the Boston Massacre was a New African male with indigenous ancestry as well, named Crispus Attucks. So that he was one of them shot down. And you had a variety of soldiers of New African origin who fought for the so-called patriots back then. The British called them the rebels, but most of us ended up fighting for the British because the British issued Lord Dunmore's proclamation, which stated that if we were able to find our way to British lines, we were basically free. So the British were taking advantage of contradictions between the enslavers and the enslaved. War of 1812, we were there. Mexican War, we were there. And then the United States Civil War, which was of course fought over us. We were there for that too. As a matter of fact, Lincoln did not even want to arm us because I guess he thought we were going to go on some sort of massacre and orgy throughout the South. But Frederick Douglass eventually convinced them to arm us, and we fought valiantly and brilliantly in our own War of Liberation, only to be stabbed in the back during Reconstruction, as I'm pretty sure all of y'all know. Then moving on to the era of imperialism, we were in the Spanish-American War, all that shit. As a matter of fact, I just finished Harriet Washington's Medical Apartheid, which I highly recommend. she mentions that U.S. troops, U.S. Military brass, wanted to use mainly Black and Latino troops in places like Philippines and Cuba, because since our ancestors came from a hot climate in Africa, they figured that we would do better because they thought that we didn't catch malaria and dengue fever and yellow fever and all these other types of diseases they had over there. So, we were going into the era of scientific racism, and bringing us to 1917, shit popped off because these guys were simply sick of that shit, man. Like, we had been through this stuff for 150 years, and we eventually said enough. So, of course, there was a riot. The troops basically just went in and shot up the fucking city, and they killed 11 civilians and 5 pigs, and 13 soldiers ended up hanging after court martials. So what did this do? It scared the shit out of white America, for one. Black men with guns tend to scare the shit out of white America regardless. But there was basically an uproar, and I think this was one of the main contributing factors to the orgy of violence that was called Red Summer in 1919. Well, there were 2 Red Summers. You had one, the Palmer raids, in which communists, anarchists, and others were arrested and messed with in general. An attempt to break the power of the growing communist movement and prevent a Bolshevik type revolution in the United States, because a lot of people were afraid of that happening for good reason. And then you had the Red Summer of racial violence, where there were race riots in several American cities. So the 1900s to 1910s, that's what historians tend to call the nadir. When I say nadir, I mean low point of American race relations. Because Black people and white people in the United States have never really cared all that much for each other. But this was the era in which there were just massive waves of violence. So coming off from the 1880s, 1890s, all the way up to the mid-20s, you just had lynching after lynching and white-initiated race riot after white-initiated race riot. So this was a pretty horrible time to be a Black person in America.
I remember reading Harry Haywood's accounts of one, he actually talks about in his book Black Bolshevik being in Houston like the week after, and with his regiment that he was going over to World War I with, and he talked about they could still see the bullet holes in the walls and everything, and the townspeople were basically scared of them, and the police didn't talk to them or didn't do anything, and they were basically able to go in and he said finally be free for the first time in forever, because they weren't messed with because of what happened the week before. And
another funny incident from Black Bolshevik, if you remember, they went in, they wanted a Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And he was like, I ain't gonna sell to you Black bastards. And they was like, my friend wants a soda. We're getting ready to ship out there. Just give him a soda. We're not gonna burn your store out or anything. And he's like, I said, I don't sell to niggers. So the guy snatched the soda off the fucking counter. Those old school hard ass Coke bottles. Popped the dude upside the head with it, and then proceeded to loot the store.
I remember that. They got back on the train and they left. That was fucking great. I remember Harry talking about that.
The white people were like, don't you see them darkies taking all that man stuff? And they're like, they better not fuck with you. Want another ride? So they got on the train and they just stood back and hollered insults between each other. It was hilarious.
But then Harry Haywood talked about what you talked about in France, like going over there and fighting, and like the French troops and the French officers didn't understand why the American officers didn't want Black troops to fight with them, and didn't understand the whole, why are you saying these things about your own countrymen? They're over here to fight. We don't get it. And then they would talk about the American officers way of wanting the French to discipline Black soldiers. And they were just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, and the French, they had they used Black soldiers. The British did. They had they had colonial troops from Senegal, Mali, those areas, and the Brits, they had their own troops from the British West Indies. Of course, there was still prejudice, and like you weren't going to see a black general or anything like that.
Yeah.
But by and large, they were treated. And keep in mind, these were still extremely racist colonial empires. But they, if you give a British dude or a French dude pause, keep in mind the French looted the hell out of Haiti and they're still looting the hell out of France. Like if you give a French person pause and make them be like, bro, you're fucking racist. Like these people gonna get up one day and they're gonna slaughter all of you all, because like that is just like that's just atrocious. Like the French were not some paragons of racial equality, but they realized that, hey, we've got these people as colonial subjects. When they're over here fighting to defend our country, if they want to walk down the Champs-Élysées holding hands with the little French with the French maiden or whatever, let them do it. Who cares? And I think honestly, like if Americans had maybe softened up a bit like that, like you wouldn't have really had all of this. You wouldn't have had. So I mean, black people didn't really like. We weren't concerned about being able to be in relationships with white women and stuff like that. We didn't give a fuck. But what we did want, we wanted decent schools, the ability to live where we wanted, the ability to earn a decent amount of money. That's all. And I think if white America had realized that and realized that we weren't going to crawl through their daughter's bedroom windows and all that stupid shit they told themselves, like I think that it would have been a lot easier to recuperate. By recuperate, I mean co-opt Black revolutionary movements. But Americans being Americans, they of course responded with immense and disgusting and horrible repression that led to the rise of these types of revolutionary movements.
I think that one thing that definitely I think Haywood definitely talked about was like the fact that like you had troops like the Harlem Hellfighters that fought valiantly and like won like a number of them won like France's version of the Medal of Honor, and like the French officers were like, these troops are amazing, like we don't get it, like why are you so fucking shitty? And you're right, like to make a French officer just stop and be like, yo, y'all are being racist as fuck, when like they're treating the Algerian soldiers in Algiers like shit and like committing massacres there. It really makes you stop and think like, holy shit, like America fucking sucks. But if anyone can get a copy of Harry Haywood's Black Bolshevik, definitely get it because it's really, really good. But no, he talked about that the Houston Uprising 1917 is like something that's definitely lost. Like it's not talked about whatsoever. And I think that a lot of people for the first time when they were able to like get a hold of that book and read about it were like, holy shit, this happened. Because I didn't even know they made a movie about it until I saw you starting making posts about it. So it's definitely one of those things that like is not normally when people are like, I didn't learn about that in history. I'm like, well, because you probably slept through history class. But this is something that literally was just skipped over completely. And I think we can all see why it was skipped over completely. Because imagine if like this was taught to people like, hey, this actually happened. So yeah, that's why we got to ban critical race theory, obviously.
Obviously.
Indeed. Yes, name more critical. It makes the native restless. No more critical race theory. We taught it all, but indeed.
I hate to break it to you, but I've been restless for 33 years now.
Oh man. But so the other do you have anything else you want to talk about with the uprising, Chris? Because the next topic is definitely something that I've really been interested in but haven't read about, and it's a very interesting topic that I was hoping to get you on to talk about, and I'm glad you're here because the concept of the New African Republic. But do you have anything else you want to talk about with uprising?
No particular. It was just a sign of the times, sign of the nadir of racial relations, and the consequences of treating American citizens like shit because of their color. Of course, that segues into what we're talking about. Are New African people, are Black people really American citizens?
So, like, I guess the first question I have is like, what is the New African Republic? Like, when I see pictures of it, like you see pictures from back in the day, like, a self-determination for the black belt. And then you have, it's the deep South states of like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina. So like, I guess like, what is the concept of the New African Republic and where did it come from? Like, what is it?
Sure. The concept of the People's Republic of New Afrika, because it is a heavily communist-inspired movement, revolutionary nationalist and communist. So we're going to have a People's Republic, not just a republic, because you can have a bourgeois republic, a fascist republic. So it's going to be the idea of a People's Republic of New Afrika. A book that I highly recommend on this is called "Free the Land" by Edward Arnaki. And essentially, it's rooted in the understanding that that after the U.S. Civil War, right, nobody asked Black people, like, okay, we treated you all like shit and held you all in slavery for hundreds of years. So do you want to be part of this country that treated you like this? No. We had what's understood as paper citizenship foisted upon us. And when I say paper citizenship, we had all the responsibilities, none of the benefits of being Americans. By responsibilities, I mean, yeah, we had to go to the draft. We had to do military service. We, of course, had to pay taxes to institutions that would not let us in. We paid so that white students could attend modern universities and modern high schools and middle schools down south, while our kids went to school in one-room shacks. As a matter of fact, in the words of one comrade, we could study the earth through the floor. We could study astronomy through the ceiling. So we didn't have shit, but we had to do all these responsibilities. We were chained like slaves on plantations. We were not allowed to leave. If we tried to, like people say, well, why didn't y'all just go north? Like that would be breaking the law. They would come after us just like in slavery times and drag us back to the plantation. We had to sign contracts with these white plantation owners. And of course, a lot of us couldn't read because they burned down all our schools and murdered all our teachers. So a lot of us couldn't read. We signed this contract. They could literally say, John Smith owes me service for 50 years. And we would know. We thought that we were just going to have, we thought that we wanted to trust white people, We thought that they had changed, some of them. And we figured that that our freedom and our rights were going to be defended. The United States government obviously didn't give a shit about us. They removed the last troops from the South in 1876 so that Rutherford B. Hayes could be president. So they took the last of the troops out. So we were basically on our own. If we didn't have a gun, if the Winchester rifle didn't occupy a place of pride above our mantelpiece, as Ida B. Wells of blessed memory said, we were fucked. So we didn't have any rights. It's really as simple as that. I mean, the Supreme Court Justice Roger Taney told us that in the Dred Scott case. Dred Scott was that case was argued right downtown in my city at the old courthouse. Negroes have no rights that white people are bound to respect. That's generally the slogan with which white people have engaged with us. So the genesis, that was the practical genesis of the New African independence movement. You know what? They treat us like shit. We're not citizens. We never have been citizens because we haven't been treated fairly as citizens in this country. As a matter of fact, it went beyond not being treated fairly. It went beyond being second-class citizens. We were literal trash. Like, we were expendable. So they were like, you know what? We watered this blood with our ground. We have the right to it. We worked it. Most of us live here. So we are entitled to these states. And the revolutionary wing of the New African independence movement was like, we will fight for these states. We will form a New African People's Liberation Army, and we will seize these territories for our people. So a couple figures. Robert F. Williams, who I'm sure you all have heard of, he was pretty active. He was actually the first president of the provisional government the Republic of New Afrika. Of course, he was in exile. He was living in Tanzania. When he came back, he was kind of iffy about it. He thought that there were two brothers. One of them was Imari Obadele. He was sort of, with all due respect, he was kind of iffy. And Robert F. Williams, like, you know what? I think this dude is a cop. So the New African independence movement, of course, was always kind of driven by personalities and splits, but it always remained dedicated to the land. The slogan of the New African independence movement is literally free the land. We as a people must have land of our own. We are a nation. A nation that does not have land is a nation in diaspora. It's a nation that has no rights. A nation that has no army has no rights. Nations must have land. Nations must have an army to defend the interests of its citizens. And a citizen of record, because the New African independence movement considered all New African people to be possible citizens, but you were not a citizen of record unless you actively took part and were registered with the provisional government. You know, it was like they literally behaved as a government. They issued passports, all sorts of stuff. So they literally behaved as our government in the United States. So yeah, they were rooted ideologically in the thought and practice of Malcolm X and Haj Malik Spas. As a matter of fact, their capital was originally named El Malik after Malcolm X. So that capital, I believe, was to be by Jackson, Mississippi. And naturally, you can't just, the United States government is not just going to let you carve out pieces of their territory, right? Because, okay, if we allow the blacks to do this, then the Chicanos, they're going to want the Aztlan. The indigenous, they're gonna start their shit, and then pretty soon we've got Yugoslavia. That was the U.S. government's rationale. So the RNA movement, they were involved in shootouts, like literal shootouts. Yeah, in 68 or 69, I'm really bad with dates, but late 60s there was a shootout at a church. They had gathered for a large meeting of the RNA movement, and the cops just showed up, and they had the RNA had their armed wing. It was called the Black Legion. Black Legion ended up in a shootout with the Detroit Police Department. I believe 2 cops were killed. So that's part of the founding. Every nation is founded in blood, because no nation, no existing country is going to let you carve out pieces of their territory. And you had midnight raids. You had people being pulled over and harassed on the highway. Like, the feds came for them heavy, because what they were arguing for was dangerous. And they tried to, COINTELPRO always had both soft and hard methods. Hard methods are what we know: assassinations, shootouts, stuff like that. Soft methods, they're giving money to your rivals. They're trying to stir up shit within the group. They're going around to the people saying that y'all are trash. Hey, you know, such and such is a drug addict. Y'all following a drug addict. You want your country to be founded by a drug addict. So it was really dirty from the FBI. But the New African independence movement is still going strong. There are still many brothers and sisters, comrades that are resident in what we consider our national territory, and what they consider our national territory, working for the realization of an independent People's Republic of New Afrika in the South. If you're familiar with the work of Cooperation Jackson, that came out of the work of the Malcolm X grassroots movement, which is directly connected to the New African independence movement. And they've been really heavy in politics down in Jackson, Mississippi, going on 40 or 50 years now. So they have produced tangible results. It's really important that we study, and if we're down there, that we lend our support to them, because they are fighting for the realization of national territory for new African people in the United States.
I guess the main question and the main thing that gets brought up every time this is talked about is I see in comment sections, and I wanted to ask you after you read that book, like how does the New African Republic in the Deep South like go along with decolonization efforts when it comes to like the land originally being of like Choctaw, Cherokee, Muskogee? How does that fit into indigenous tribes that were forced off by the American government? And then if you're going to have a new African Republic in this territory that was originally theirs, like how did that all fit in, or like how was that discussed or talked about?
Yeah, I knew you were going to ask me that. So I could read you an excerpt from the book, New African Identity at Third World Liberation. I'm reading now. The RNA's identification as a colonized nation has prompted its citizens to form alliances with peoples who claim their land was stolen or unjustly occupied by an imperial force, thereby compelling them to seek sovereignty, restitution, and/or independence. The provisional government of the Republic of New Afrika states in its Code of Umoja, it shall be the policy of the provisional government to recognize the just claims of the American Indian, their words, not mine, nations and other oppressed nations for land in North America. It shall be the policy of the provisional government to negotiate with the American Indian nations the claims which conflict with the claims of the new African nation, and to resolve these claims in the spirit of justice, brotherhood, and mutual revolutionary commitment to the human and natural rights of all oppressed nations in North America. So essentially, because a lot of people are like, hey, you all were fucked over, but we were here first, and you can't just take our land away like that for your own state. But the Republic of New Afrika recognized this contradiction, and they were willing to work and struggle with indigenous comrades whose land it was. And in many cases, if I recall correctly, responded to fairly well by revolutionary elements within those nations.
Yeah,
of course. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to add something here that a lot of times when those questions are brought up, just as an overall thing, when people want to bring those things up, yes, sometimes they are actually asking, but there's a non-insignificant amount of people who ask those things because they are waiting for the discord. They're waiting for one group to say something against the other group, and rather than building those two groups, those two nations together, they want to sow the discord to pull it apart, because pulling them apart is going to make it a weaker state altogether, or states at that point. But when people ask that, they're kind of forgetting that there is a large number of Black indigenous people, indigenous Black people. Like there's so many of us, you can't pull those two populations apart in a lot of areas, especially in the South. And there's more tying us together than there ever was pulling us apart at that point. And any reputable indigenous group that's looking for land reclamation or land back or any sort of decolonization, tearing down of the United States system or anything, if they're worth their salt, then they know that Black people are our comrades, our siblings, our brothers and sisters. Like, we're together in this at this point. And anybody who's asking those questions, like, be aware of what their motives are in the first place.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, because like you said, it's usually white people asking questions like that. And I'm like, bro, it's none of your fucking business in the first place. Like, you're trying to stir up strife between indigenous and Black people. That's really dirty. And they've always done that. Like, you don't want to give the land to nobody in the first place. You want to keep the land. So you figure you'll weaken the struggle against you by pitting us against each other. So we always have to be very, very wary of efforts by unrepentant colonizer elements to break the unity and bonds of both blood and struggle forged between our two groups.
I will note that a lot of people that ask that question either don't have a human profile picture or they're white, so that's spot on. But it's just something that I've always wondered, because like I like going back and read, like when I researched the Sharecroppers Union episode and for that paper and everything, like going back and reading like the national question and like seeing flyers for like, you know, self-determination for the black belt, et cetera, et cetera. I just always I figured there was going to be an alliance, and I figured that those two groups of people could easily talk it out a lot better than, you know, my people ever could, because we're just violent. So it's just like I just always wondered like what was the solution for that, and it sounds like a really awesome solution. So Tyler, they're onto us. They're onto our plan to divide and conquer. So we got to get out of here.
I already got plans to leave. So
Are you relying on your Mexican wife?
I'm getting my dual citizenship.
Really?
Yeah.
Dual citizenship where? Honky land?
Mexico.
Oh, Mexico.
Soon to be honky land.
The new honky republic.
Yeah.
No, it's not new. Have you seen the amount of white retirees that retired to like the Yucatan Peninsula or something? It's like, there's so many.
Ruining all that beautiful land.
Right.
Tyler just shows up. Is like, I declare this the new honky republic.
I mean, I think when kind of in the early 1900s, there was a huge problem of just like white people, especially from like Texas, just like wandering down to Mexico and starting homesteads with no legal reason or record. Like there's nothing, like they had no reason to be there, and they would just do that. And then the Mexican government's like, the fuck y'all do it? And they're like, we live here now. Like the slowest colonization you've ever seen.
Yeah, the Mormons in particular were really good at that. Matter of fact, Mitt Romney's dad was born in a Mormon Mexico. George Romney. He was born in a Mormon colony in Mexico, and there's still some of them still down there. They did that in Brazil too. As a matter of fact, Brazil had, because they've mostly intermingled with the local population, but they had a colony of fucking ex-Confederates that went down.
Yeah, we did an episode on that, the Confederados.
Oh, that is the funniest shit.
This shit's fucking wild.
Yeah, like Brazil didn't abolish slavery until I believe it was Pedro II, the emperor, abolished it in 1888. But yeah, you see their celebrations. Like they have these black and brown looking people. They've got on the fucking crinolines, the old, that shit that rich women used to wear. They got crinolines on and they're waving Confederate flags. I'm like, what the fuck?
It's like a regular old debutante ball down there.
Yeah.
Just reenacting Gone with the Wind, just, south of the equator.
Gone with the Wind in Portuguese.
Oh,
where have I crossed over to in the fucking multiverse? Like,
like there's a lot of like religious groups that still do that. Like there's American, like mostly white American religious groups that'll move down to places like in Central America, like Costa Rica and kind of north-south, like the north part of South America. They just go down there and start colonies. Very Jim Jones. Like he did that in Guyana. And they just go there and they just like start colonies, and then they start trying to gather in everybody who's like mostly poor communities around them, of like the indigenous people, the black people that were, descendants of enslaved people, or mixing of those groups. And they're trying to like pull those people into their little cults that they start down in like Central and South America all the time. Like it's still happening. I'm pretty sure I watched a documentary on one that happened like 2 years ago.
I just want to meet my wife's folks. Like
keep in mind that all of the people down there are literally already Christian. They're just the wrong type of Christian. They're Catholic, but like,
right,
they're already Christian. They don't need your help.
Right.
They'll fuck with the Senate to leave again and get an arrow in your throat.
Yes.
That's where we went wrong. We should have just kept shooting when they showed up.
The second those guineas showed up on the fucking shore, you should have been like, whoa, get the fuck out of here.
Look, we did it to Juan Ponce de Leon, okay? We killed him with a poison dart arrow in the ass, all right? Down in Florida. Thank you very much.
In Puerto Rico, they went around because they thought that the Spaniards, they had that armor they had on, they thought that it prevented them from being killed. And they thought some of the indigenous people thought that you couldn't kill them. So one warrior decided to test it, and he just held the dude down until he drowned. He was like, yeah, you can kill these motherfuckers. Let's have a revolt.
Holy shit.
Yeah, you can't pierce a breastplate with a fucking arrow, but you sure can drown them.
That shit's heavy. Just kick them in deep enough they can't swim out again.
Was on Twitter today. Some jack. It was completely unprovoked. He had a fucking. It was like something flintlock anarchist or whatever, but had a fucking Ukrainian fucking symbol as his fucking profile picture, whatever. Like started just unprovoked, randomly is going in about like decolonization, land back, and calling it ethnic cleansing and whatnot. Like on one of my threads, like, what the fuck are you talking about? And so he was like, you just saying white people are the enemy. I was like, yeah, but then I was like, the Polish soldiers that like fought with the Haitians were allowed to stay and were granted like citizenship. So just don't fight for the wrong side. You'll be fine. Yeah. And then that's when they like shut up and they're just like, oh,
Poles are not threatening anybody.
Yeah. It was just like they turned on Napoleon and were like,
I'm not the Poles.
What? Okay.
The Poles, they aren't threatening anybody. Yes. Reservation and make your kielbasa.
We heard Poles and then kielbasa.
I like a good kielbasa.
That is true.
Yeah, they can stand over there. They can stay on their little area and make their kielbasa. They're not threatening anybody.
Yeah, I mean, you fought against Napoleon with us. It's cool. You can stay and be honorary Haitians and get citizenship. So it's just like, don't fight for the oppressors. And you okay? And he was like, "Well, white people bad." I was just like, "Shut the fuck up." And like, I hate that you can't like block people on Twitter. Like you can block them, they can still like post and everything on like other formats. So I just like get them. I just ignore them until they shut up.
You should lock your profile. That's what I did.
Yeah, I saw that. I was sad because you post, you like tweet so much great stuff, and I want to retweet it, but it's just like, I understand, but it's damn.
You're free to steal. You're not free to steal our music, but you can steal posts from me. I don't care.
Okay, good, because that shit you talked about with the fucking ICBMs detected coming to Los Angeles and his little bit of chicken fried and then static, that shit cracked me the fuck up because that would happen. CNN would pull that shit again and it'd be like, ICBMs have been launched into America, and they cut to a fucking Applebee's commercial.
Yeah, and when the dolphins, they eventually find out how to walk on land and they inherit whatever we have left, they're gonna turn on, they're gonna go and they're gonna find out how to fix the TV, and they're gonna see how human civilization collapsed. They're gonna see, well, where the fuck is Ukraine? Oh, that's that big hole over there that's radioactive. Yeah, we don't want to go there. And then they're gonna be like, what the fuck is chicken? Why is it fried? What is frying? And what is beer? And then they discover beer and they ruin their civilization.
Just about to say, they discover alcohol and they ruin the. Just like,
that's basically like the theory. That's basically the theory of how like the Fertile Crescent in the Middle East became like humanity. Is that they learned how to do agriculture, and agriculture immediately begot beer.
Tyler, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say the dolphins would drink the alcohol, and then they would turn into crackers.
Yeah, like, can you imagine a drunk dolphin? That would be the funniest and the saddest shit.
Man, I'm telling you right now that if dolphins were humans, they would be white people. I've worked with dolphins. They are horrible creatures. They like, okay, trigger warning for the next 10 seconds. Dolphins will rape other dolphins.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's awful. Yeah. And then they'll like assault other creatures, like they assault puffins in order to get the toxins out of them and get high off of them.
See, that's why I'm against dolphin safe tuna. Like, the less dolphins, the better.
Mark, you want to say something?
No.
You just unmuted.
Well, like everyone else did. So I was like, okay, I guess this is, the
Mark, go ahead and ring off one. Fuck dolphins. Come on.
Fuck dolphins.
Do you know what? But you know which sea creatures definitely not just a white person, but all of them are white males, right? Is the
Orcas.
Orcas are fucking psychopaths.
Orcas are dolphins.
Orcas are Kyles. They are Kyles to the first degree.
Orcas will literally just torture other animals for fun and kill them and then not eat them.
They, like, eat them slowly, like pull bits off of them.
I watched this video on TikTok where they literally just like killed the stingray and didn't eat it, just let it float to the bottom. And they like ripped this penguin apart. Like, basically somehow sucked out its insides and its carcass just like sunk to the bottom. They'll abuse great white sharks. So just like ram them until they die. And then they'll like work together as teams to like knock seals off like pieces of big pieces of ice. And then just like throw them just like 50 feet in the air and break their fucking backs.
It's fucking
and just
insane.
toy with them. It's horrible. Kai, you're right. They're Kyles. Like, they're every dude that like shotguns bang energy drinks and wants to join the Marine Corps, but said that they can't because if a drill sergeant got in their face, they'd hit them.
Why don't we weaponize the orcas?
So animal torture aside, what else do we want to know about the Republic of New Afrika?
I'm so sorry.
What's the Republic of New Afrika's stance on sea creatures, dolphins and orcas?
I'm pretty sure last time I was here, y'all had a weird ass tangent like this about the dolphins being dicks. Yeah, dolphins. We're not trying to establish the Dolphin Republic.
The Postatus or whatever they're called. So that my question in good faith was really only the real one I had, because you see that a lot, and you're right. It's always white people and like people without a human like profile picture, like trying to cause trouble. So like, I guess that really was my main question, is how does that work into like other decolonization efforts? Is there any like what are like, is there any like, I've heard about the Jackson Cooperative, but is there anything else? Like, what is this movement today? Like, is there anything really still going with it, or what? Like, it's past its peak? Is it coming back? Like, what's up?
Yeah, a lot of people actually are becoming more interested, because a lot of it came through reparations. The resurrection of the struggle for reparations. I mean, it never really died, but a lot more people becoming interested in it because Ta-Nehisi Coates did that book, I believe, and a lot of people are reclaiming and studying the work that our ancestors put in. And with all of these police killings and vigilante killings, Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown, George Floyd, Freddie Gray, all of these struggles and the uprisings around them, people who participated in these, they are rediscovering our revolutionary heritage, and they're bringing it into the 21st century, and they're also connecting with our elders who are actually around for those struggles. So yeah, it's really good, and it's really interesting to see this resurgence of people identifying as new Africans, because African American has played out, and a lot of people they're studying Malcolm, they're studying Alhaji Maliko Sabaz, and they're starting to realize the truth of his argument that we are not Americans. We never have been Americans. This country has never benefited us anything. And we were promised 40 acres and a mule. We were promised support for our development as a people, and we never got it. We owned 0.5. I just saw Ice Cube post earlier. We owned 0.5% of the country in 1860, and coming up to now, 2022, we still don't have shit. And the reason why we don't have shit, it's not because of our failings as a people. It's because we were structurally forced to not have shit. And people are studying Black Wall Street, all of these thriving new African communities that were violently dissipated and destroyed. And people are putting two and two together, and they're coming to realize that the only solution is for us to work to end this empire, which has done all these horrible things to us, and struggle for our own land and our national liberation on a socialist basis. So yeah, the new African independence movement has never died.
I do have I mean this in good faith. This is a legitimate question, even though it's going to sound like, shut up. Even though it's going to bring up a topic that's, has been made into comedy, basically. Chris, I guess, what is the difference? And I honestly mean this. What is the difference between what the New African Republic and what I guess Black Hammer was doing with Hammer City? Legitimately, because people are going to look at it as like the same thing, because it's like that was in the news, like that was in social media, and people saw that as like this is a thing, and they marketed it as like a place, sort of like what you're talking about is the New African Republic. So like what Republic of New Afrika. So like what I guess are the differences, and I guess which one would be better? I guess what's the difference?
I try not to make it a habit of attacking other organizations in public. But considering the fact that this individual is going around hanging out with Proud Boys and stuff like that, I suppose I could make an exception since he's gone full fascist. Ghazi and Black Hammer, they were a spinoff of the African People's Socialist Party, APSP. And the APSP, they actually have a political line, Black Hammer really doesn't. Very eclectic. Basically, whatever Ghazi thinks will bring him clout for the day. So I really think it's there is no comparison. Ghazi is a charlatan. Black Hammer is a cult. Black Hammer City was a grift from the get-go. They never had any intention of setting up anything. Plus, they had very few Black members. Okay, they had most of the people that I saw with them hanging out, rolling with them, were white-looking Latino people. But I really don't want to discuss and talk about that mess. But I'll just say that there is no connection between Black Hammer and the New African Independence Movement. I've never even seen or heard Ghazi use the term New African. So, yeah.
Wasn't he the guy who was on fucking Gavin McGinnis?
Yes. He also praised Kyle Rittenhouse and a variety of other things. He praised Kyle Rittenhouse because Kyle Rittenhouse killed white people. So yeah,
the two groups like kind of fucking have similar ideals because they're like so separatist, or I don't know.
I'm going to ignore that.
It's the real Red Brown Alliance. It's just wild. Anyway, does anyone else have any questions? Because that was really the two big ones that I had, because you see those, like I said, on social media in the comment sections a lot. But I think you Chris, you definitely answered my questions when it comes to the New African Republic. Anyone else? Tyler, you got those crackers behind you?
No, I just got more shit to look up now. Last time I had to look up a whole bunch of shit about Mao. Now I got to look up a whole bunch of shit about the New African Republic. I go on like a week-long tangent to educate myself.
You're becoming a very well-read redneck.
Yeah. I want to understand as much as possible.
You could be president of the Redneck Republic.
Yeah. No,
I feel like this should be a new merch. Redneck.
I'm gonna do the New Cracker Republic in Venezuela or somewhere.
No.
Oh, that's already happened. Never mind. That's already happened.
We'll give y'all a reservation in New Africa. Well, we will respect y'all as a minority, and we will allow you all to have Scotch Irish culture days where you all get together, duel with each other, and fight and drink and moonshine. Moonshine will be one of the prime exports and sources of foreign exchange for the Republic of New Afrika. So I love our redneck friends. We will allow you all to be a recognized ethnic minority in the Republic of New Afrika.
Will y'all acknowledge my dual citizenship? So
That's up to Mexicans. I can't tell Mexico what to do.
I'm good with Veracruz. Veracruz, it's gonna be. All I'm gonna have to do is fill out a bunch of paperwork. I'm talking about New Africa.
Such as you're a cook, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I can do with the white cook in my palace. Actually, there's not going to be any palaces because it's socialist. But yes, I'm sure that very good. I'm sure that you will be a very good living history interpreter, and you will teach the people how to make all sorts of redneck delicacies, such as fucking hush puppies soaked in vodka, whatever the hell else y'all eat in your.
My wife's also a pastry chef, so.
Oh my god!
It's gonna be corned beef and cabbage. And it's gonna be shit. What else?
I'm not Irish, I don't think.
No, you don't know because we haven't done the 23andMe yet.
What about the Italians? Could we have a reservation in New Africa where we exchange pizza and I don't know, new gangster movies?
You can have an embassy.
Oh, damn.
Look,
I live in the embassy.
If we establish a republic, why the hell would we start filling up with white people?
That is true.
Like we'd just be repeating history at that point. Like we fought and we fought to get away from these motherfuckers. Now they're pouring over the border. Like can we not F our ass?
Can we commute and like I have a pizza place on like the border and I can commute back and forth?
You'll have an embassy in an old Carrabba's.
I'd order the border guards to open fire on you on sight.
Whoa!
Yeah, no border, no smuggling.
I was gonna put brothers on the wall in the pizza place and everything. Man,
we're gonna put you against the wall. How about that?
God damn!
It'll be like walking into those local kind of sandwich shops that have murals on the wall and they're always a little dubious. These are the white people that we kicked out.
I told y'all we need to get some guineas up against that motherfucking wall.
God damn!
I'll be better off in Veracruz.
I don't give a shit where y'all go, to be honest. As long as I can come in on the podcast and roast y'all.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
always.
You gotta be careful now because you've been on 3 times. If you're on a 4th time, you end up becoming a host.
Yeah.
Like this has happened twice now.
That is true.
That's all right. I can play Nelson the straight man. I'm not a straight man, but I can play Nelson. You've got a gay straight man.
Yeah, I don't know if any other podcast can say that.
We'll literally be the most diverse podcast at that point. Now, I think the question we all have right now, we need to check in on Tommy. Tommy, have you defeated that boss yet?
Yeah, I beat it before we came on. But while we've been doing this, I have beat 2 bosses. So I'm very excited.
So you're at 24, right?
I feel like out of anybody who should be involved in the New African Republic, Tommy.
His New African Republic his citizenship is revoked. We over here talking about the nation. He over there playing a goddamn.
Look.
Your citizenship is
revoked. I was listening. I'm all down. New Africa. Hell yeah.
Your ass is
Bungawa.
Nelson.
Well, can we turn his?
He's getting deported with me. What the fuck?
Can we turn his citizenship into a visa so I can teach a casserole class or something?
Look, we don't need more white people casseroles, okay? We've had enough mayonnaise.
Are we done with the serious discussion? I need to go back to sleep.
We are done with the serious discussion. Chris, we really appreciate it. Unless anyone else has any questions, we appreciate it. Thank you for coming on again.
It's always sick to have you on, Chris.
It's always great. Tyler figured out that you were going to be the guest, but for a long time he didn't know, and he was like, "Who's it going to be?" And then when I told him it was you, he shit himself.
But I'm going to be honest, you're my most requested guest. I request you more than anyone else does.
No,
it's an abusive relationship.
It's good learning shit.
So you want me to you I don't know what it is with white people and enjoying being psychologically tortured, but I'm all right with providing you that experience.
I'm fine.
But okay. What you just reminded me of something, because you always, real quick before you have to go back to sleep, I don't want to keep you up any longer than I have to. But you had that Twitter poll where you found out most of your followers are white, and I think you really underestimate the value of a legion of like nerdy white people that will literally do anything you ask, Chris. Like you have a power that you need to definitely wield with responsibility, because you could probably get a lot of your followers to like do some crazy ass shit. So I'm just saying, don't hate on the fact that most of your followers on Twitter are white. I'm just saying, you have a legion of loyal followers that will do anything that you ask. So
that, and plus, anytime anybody shares that Dr. Phil clip, I'm just like, I know that guy. He called me a juggalo.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
See you, Chris.
At Dixieland, the proletariat believe the South will rise again. It's time for the right reasons, those being work, own means of production, decolonization, self-determination for all oppressed peoples. Make sure to click on our link tree in the show notes to find all our social media. And don't forget, every Saturday night at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and fuck you Mountain Time, you'll find us in Uncle Tommy's Twitch cabin, where we stream react content and play games with our fans. We are coming to you from the birthplace of the civil rights movement, Montgomery, Alabama, sweet Georgia, and temporarily Florida. We also would like to recognize we're recording on occupied land that rightfully belongs to the Muskogee Nation, the Cherokee Nation, and the Seminole Nation.
And New Africa.
And the Republic of New Afrika. Chris is gone. He went to bed, but thanks everyone for listening. Tommy, where you at now in the game?
What do you mean, where am I at?
I thought did you defeat another boss?
Yeah, have you killed the dragon and got it to use his little words to
Nelson is literally that meme of like the father walking into the doorway going, "Are you winning, son?
Are you winning, son?" Tommy's face is just of utter disgust right now. He's like, trying to explain video games to me is the worst fucking thing ever.
It is. It's a nightmare.
It really is a nightmare.
Makes me hurt.
Yeah, to the person that suggested in our Discord that we try playing like Left 4 Dead together, there's no way I'm gaming with this group. I'm sorry.
It'll be me like, what the fuck do I do?
Oh, no, we could do that. It is on Back 4 Blood is on Game Pass. Nelson has Game Pass. Well, he had it.
No, it expired.
Do you really want to hold hands with Nelson trying to get him to play a group game like this?
I think we should do one Saturday. Tommy plays Gears and we all do react content to him. We react to him playing Gears and just talk shit, because you can't talk shit on live anymore, you get banned. But we could talk shit on Twitch about Tommy just owning people on Gears of War.
That sounds awful. No one.
You just love to degrade black people.
What the fuck? How did that fucking come up? Jesus Christ.
Let Tyler do the outro so that we can go.
Yeah, so I can go watch Euphoria and eat my
fuck
fucking
yeah,
chicken nuggets.
Yeah, your fucking nostalgia and chicken nuggets. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Good Lord willing and the creek don't rise. We'll see y'all next time. In the fucking show.
I can't pause the game. So.
Oh my fucking God.
Tyler, you can just go.
No, you gotta
work
stay.
for you.
You can't do it. You
All
can't leave. No, Tyler, no, you can't leave, because if you leave, it fucks up the recording, right?
Pause the game.
No, it doesn't. It's fine. Everybody can leave.
Well, no, now it's an awkward situation. I feel like I have to stay.